Hello and welcome. My name is Kamoya Benjamin. I identify as a peak performance coach, and what that means is that I come alongside people and help them to deploy themselves at the optimum mindset and skill set in order to create more, whatever more represents, whether more confidence, more assertiveness, more income, more impact, whatever more represents. It's a mindset and a skill set game. And my role in your life is really to come alongside you and support you in that. That is the purpose behind the Lunch and Learn sessions, which are to really help you understand the mindset around most of the topics that I talk about. And today, specifically, we're talking about a topic that I love, which is about failure. Failure unmasked. That's what we want to do. And when we're talking about unmasking failure, one of the things that is of utmost importance for us is really to ask, should we challenge society's perception of success? Should we challenge society's perception of success? And I'm just going to begin here by sharing that in very many ways, I think we need to challenge that perception of success. If you look at what success is, how success is described and what is celebrated in society, then very quickly you will begin to understand that failure is stigmatized in our society. If you go back to your formative experiences, how was failure received? How was failure treated? And you will find that in those formative experiences, we were programmed that failure is fatal. I mean, if I remember my own examples, I was beaten because I did not get a certain grade. I was beaten because I didn't get a certain result. I was beaten because I did not achieve at the level that I was supposed to. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not against discipline. What I am against is failing to understand, and this is what society has handed over to us, the process of creation. How do we create an outcome? How do we go from point A, which is here, to point B, which is there, the outcome we desire? How do we get there? And the question is, although most of us, myself included, although most of us know logically that when we aim with a bow and arrow, there's a likelihood that our first shot is not going to hit the bullseye. Though we know that logically, we expect that it should hit. And we're more concerned about, what if it doesn't hit the bullseye? What does it mean if it doesn't hit the bullseye? You see, we're going back to this conversation of how society's definition of success has also dealt a blow to failure. And that success and failure are almost like light and darkness if you were to look at them from that perspective. And so my time here in the next 10-15 minutes is for us to really listen keenly and join me in a conversation to challenge society's perception of success. And I have said failure is stigmatized. No one wants to talk about their journey. No one wants to talk about where they're coming from. No one wants to talk about their difficult moments. Failure is stigmatized in a society where we have been programmed that failing is wrong, that failing is stupid, that failing is unacceptable, and failing has some dire consequences. So how do we thrive in a society that talks about failure in this way? Now, I think we need to challenge society's perception of success because it significantly inspires confidence in those who are trying to make great things happen. If you're trying to do something that you've never done, it's your first time, guess what? You're going to meet with failure before you encounter success. Isn't that already a wrong definition? Is success a final product? Or is success part of the journey? What is this? What is this? Why do we call it success? Isn't success embedded in each of these steps? You begin to see why I want to challenge society's perception of success. If you go back to things that you've done in your life, you have been a student and you have been, taking exams in the first term, the second term, the third term. And this is the point at which it is designated that within an institution of learning, that this is when you will be awarded with, a certificate of merit, whether it's a diploma, a degree, whatever that may be. You will be awarded at a certain point in this journey. And so the question is, are you only successful here? Or you've been a success the whole way? Every assignment that you handed in and you got an A, you are a success. Every assignment that you prepared for and you didn't get the marks that you wanted and you went back into the books and you read it a little bit more and you understood it better, you are a success. And so when we have this understanding that I'm moving from failure, and then I'm going to be an overnight success, is already a wrong perception of success that makes failure look like a bad thing and success as the only thing that is worthy to be celebrated. I think we need to challenge society's perception of success, because society's perception of success influences where our energy goes. It influences the meaning that we make. If your programming is that failure is fatal, are you even going to try? If this is the only way that success has been defined, that I'm going to move from one step to the other and kaboom, and it doesn't include the detours that are going to happen in the process of getting to what you might call success finally. If it doesn't include those detours, and if it does not include these moments as moments of success in understanding how not to do it, because even as you're bequeathing manuals to the next generation of how to create X result, that manual needs to include what to do and what not to do. I love the Bible because in the Bible, it breaks it down for you very well. Hey, this is what you need to do to live a really, really fulfilling life. And hey, here are some things that you should also not do. It's a manual that is balanced very well. That it says, hey, if you do these things, here are the results you're going to get. If you do these things, here are the results you're going to get. But if we nullify the feedback loops that come in the process of creating an outcome, is that perception of success complete? I'm challenging this perception because the perception of success does not lay any emphasis on these moments where you feel like no idea is coming through. And yet these are the steps. These are the steps that are necessary for us to create any outcome. I'm challenging the perception of success because if you are going to understand failure, you need to look at who taught you the definition of success. And as for me, I was taught that success is doing it right the first time. I was not told. It was communicated to me by the expectations that others had of me. There was a curriculum in people's behavior that when I was attempting to make my first egg and then it got burnt on the pan, the look that I got from my mom, the look that I got communicated to me that no. But the journey was not factored into the equation of the perception of success. Who taught you what success is? Because that influences how you understand failure. Who taught you success? Who taught you success? How did you learn success? How do you define success? Are you successful when you're trying to do the high jump? Are you only successful when you manage to run and you do the high jump and you get it to the other side? Oh, yes, I'm successful. What about the times you fell? What about the times you didn't touch the rope? What about the times you didn't get the outcome? Are those not equally points of success? And though we may see them as not the optimal outcome we want, when we label them as a failed attempt, we do not harvest in that description the value that exists therein. Wasn't it Napoleon Hill in the book Think and Grow Rich who said that in every failure there's a seed of an equivalent opportunity to win? In every failure there's a seed, there's an opportunity in that failure. And yet society does what? Tells us cover up all your misses, cover them up, just hide them. Nobody should see that. Don't even talk about that. Nobody wants to know. But project your big wins, project what worked. And in the journey to peak performance, this is the misconception of peak performance. That peak performance is purely for those people who just take off. It's for athletes. It's for people who are, only performing at the stage of life. No. You can be a peak performer at home with your children. You can be a peak performer, in your marriage. You can have peak performance in your parenting. You can have peak performance in your finances. You can have peak performance in your faith with God. You can have peak performance in your own journey of fitness. But if we only understand success to mean an instant hit and a win, if we only measure success in those moments where you get the result and the outcome that you want, you can understand why it becomes difficult for us to attempt anything. Because we're concerned about what if I fail? I spent a weekend with I was on the football pitch with my son and somebody who knows what I do and I talk about peak performance. They're like, wow, you're the guy I wanted to meet. And the long haul conversation was around, I want to try and do this. I want to try and do that in my business. I want to do this in my life. I say, what's holding you back? I say, it's fear of the unknown. What is the unknown? I'm afraid that if I do this, I'm going to fail. And so what if you fail? And you see, the great fear behind failure, why I don't want to fail, is that failure means something. And that's why I'm inviting you to interrogate, who taught you the definition of success? Because in that definition of success, there was also the definition of failure. And you've got to interrogate that. If there's nothing else you're going to take away from this time with me today, it's this. Who taught you the definition of success? They may not have said it verbally, but it was the way that it was taught to you by how people behaved. And the most important question is, how does that definition sabotage or serve you? What are the limiting aspects of that definition? What are the limits that definition places on you? Because that definition tells you, don't do this, you're going to fail. And if you fail, then this means that. Don't do this because if you fail, you're not good enough. People will discover you're a fraud. No wonder we struggle from an inferiority complex. No wonder we don't feel good enough. Because the standard that we set for ourselves is outrageous. It's unrealistic. And when we don't hit it, we feel not good enough. Hey, look at this. If you want to know what society defines as success, generally, I don't know who taught you success. That's for you to evaluate. But if you look at generally what society defines as success, look at what it rewards and look at what it punishes. Look at what we celebrate in media. Look at what we talk about in our newspapers. Look at social media. Society rewards flashy. Society, advertises, great achievement. It has no space, and it does punish you severely when you try and show that you're learning. I like this quote that says, nobody kicks puppies. Nobody kicks puppies. And that's because puppies, when they are in their infant stage, when they are small, they are nice and they are chubby and they are good to hold and to have. And we see them making mistakes and we don't kick them because we appreciate that they are learning. And even for us when we were children, we may have had someone who had a level of awareness that allowed us to learn. But as soon as you started to walk, immediately the bar was set high. I mean, I've got 4 children. At the time of this recording, 11, 8, 2 and 4. 4 and 2. And one of the things that I'm in many circles with parents who've got children. And the conversations that sometimes abound are about children's accomplishments. What they can and cannot do, how fast they've reached certain milestones or not. And the issue is not the conversation, the issue is the meaning that is behind the conversation. And so quickly you begin to see that society doesn't measure progress. It doesn't have space to measure and celebrate progress. It looks at the final outcome and very little mention of the steps. And that is why I want us to challenge the perception of success. Failure is a necessary part of the journey. Failure is a necessary part of the journey. It is through failure that we understand what to do differently when we go back into the scene. It is through failure that we have an opportunity to learn what to become better at. It is through failure that we get an opportunity to correct. It is through failure that we teach our subconscious mind what exactly it should not do next time. Did you know that when a missile is shot from the launcher, okay, and it's supposed to arrive at a certain destination, which is right here, as soon as the missile is launched, the trajectory for that missile is that it will take a path that goes straight to the target. But the missile is constantly off target. And it's got a feedback mechanism that keeps it back on target in reference to the final outcome, in reference to the goal. It's constantly off target and it's learning through these moments right here what not to do. These moments right here, what not to do, what not to do, what not to do. And that tells you that success is not this line. It's not this linear line of moving from one point to the other, which is what almost society wants us to believe it this way. Again, I say we know it in our mind that that's not what it is, but our performance indicates that that's what we want it to be. Failures keep us down. Setbacks keep us down. If they don't blow you out of the game, if they don't kick you out of the game, they'll put you out of the game for a while. They will impact how you are showing up. And so my encouragement is for us to interrogate this definition so that we can fail fast, we can fail forward, and we can fail often. Just go in, do it. Failure is a feedback opportunity. Failure is a feedback opportunity. Failure is a necessary part. It's a necessary ingredient in the journey to growth. It shows you that you don't know how to do it yet. When you got your first child, or when you saw a child crawling, you knew how to walk, but the child didn't know how to walk. They haven't tried it yet. So what do they need to do? Crawl quickly, fail quickly, fall quickly, and then fail forward. Learn how to pick up the lessons. What did I learn? What did I pick? What can I do differently? And then go in and fail. The faster you fail, the faster you learn, the faster you reach your destination, whatever that destination is. And so for peak performance, For peak performance, the question is, are you operating at the mindset that informs you to harvest the good from an instance of failure? From a feedback moment of, we didn't do that the way it was supposed to be done. Okay, here's what we've learned. Here's how to do it differently. Number 2 is I want you to detach yourself and disconnect yourself by appreciating wait a minute, this is what society rewards. This is what society rewards about success. This is the definition that success is in society. So that then you can define what exactly you want. Can I shock you for a moment? Most people are more afraid of failure. Most people are more afraid of failure. Their focus is so much on what if I fail, that they don't even understand what it means when you ask the question, what if you succeed? Wait, I could succeed? And so the assignment that I have for you, besides interrogating who taught you success, because right there was also a definition of failure, is for you to step in and begin to define what winning looks like for you in the 5 domain areas of your life. That is in your faith, your relationship with God, in your fitness, in your family, in your fulfilling work, and in your finances. What does winning look like for you? And if you haven't defined what winning looks like, if you haven't defined what the final outcome, the desire of what winning looks like for you, the question is, are you afraid of failure? The question is, what's holding you back? Because if you're here today and you want to go to a place called there, and that's the desired outcome that you have, and you know that's possible for you, you've got to define what there looks like in each of these areas of your life. You've got to define what there looks like. And then begin to chart a path to get there. And like we said, that path is not going to be a stair step, one after the other. You're going to meet setbacks along the way. And then you're going to go back and you're going to, and it's going to be, but in all these moments, guess what? You're moving towards there. And you're wiser, you're better for it. You know how not to do it, because all the feedback loops through the journey, you've harvested them. And in those success moments, those learning moments, those setbacks, you've harvested the good and you've applied it in the direction of the outcome that you desire in your life. That's what I wanted us to talk about today, unmasking failure. The question that I was asking is, should we challenge society's perception of success? Should you challenge society's perception of success? Thank you so much for tuning in into today's session. My name is Kamoya Benjamin. If you would like to develop a blueprint for how to actually define winning in all these 5 domain areas of your life, I would like to encourage you right now to head out to catalyst.ke. Catalyst.ke. I've got a way for you to start defining what winning looks like in each of these 5 domains or areas of your life. Get the clarity and then develop the coordinated steps to actually realize it. It's a journey that you're going to love because it's going to grow you. It's going to expand your capacity to be more, to do more, and to have more, whatever more represents for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be well. Bye for now.